What if Deku had full counter? Part 5. So, to start things off, they're going to the UA training camp. Now, when they get there, well, they're not really there as they're on the side of a highway. As soon as they see the Wild Wild Pussycat, the floor drops, only for Deku to grab Momo and lift her up and then jump back. Which he ends up holding her higher than he ends up holding her like up higher, which he can see under her. So Deku, so the Wild Wild Pussycats are like, oh, okay, I guess you can ride on the bus. He's like, no, I'll sit on the bus. As he just sits up there on the bus, looking at the sky, like just watching the clouds. Only for him to whip out a beer out of his pocket. But, so as soon as they get there, they basically give them food and told them that they can go to the hot springs. The same thing happens, only with Deku hopping up onto the wall when Mineta goes up to try and pass it. He gets there and kicks Mineta off. And then he turns around after hearing all the girls thank him, and he just looks down and he's like, heh, cool you. As he turns around and gives the guys a thumbs up, and everyone, like all the guys are just like, oh, what the hell? So he ends up hopping down after giving another glance towards them, which they all just accepted pretty much. They didn't really care. As they get down and go to sleep. Now, during this time, I'm not actually really sure how Elizabeth awoke in her goddess form, which I'm just going to say, in extreme situations, they're gonna awaken the goddess form. So Deku they end up having a week full of training. Momo pretty much gets stronger. Deku maybe a little bit. He's still way stronger than everybody. So when the villains arrive, Deku goes out, saves Koda, which pretty much is just Muscular saying, heh, what's a puny kid like you doing all the way out here? Only for him to throw a punch, and Deku just full counters it right back at him. Now, since Deku's pretty much way stronger than everybody, he just goes around and defeats all the villains, but they still capture Bakugo. And don't forget, Deku knows his demon form, so with that, he's pretty much the strongest person in the universe, I'd say. I mean, besides all the demons and stuff, but those, I'm just going to say, were sealed away. I can kind of do something like how I did for part 6, which is the final for tomorrow. So yeah, Deku and his friends are kind of upset that they couldn't save Bakugo, but they end up walking away. Deku, on the other hand, he's like, I wonder. As Deku ends up hiding in a vent in the UA over a conference room, which they end up having a conference, and they end up accidentally saying the place, or not accidentally, but they end up discussing the place, where it is about a warehouse on the outskirts of Hosu City. Deku being Deku, being Izuku, the dragon sin of wrath, he goes there immediately. It's just like, yo. He knocks on the door. They open it, and he's like, yo. As he just, Dabi sends a thing of fire only for Deku to block it, with a full counter. Now Deku's like, oh, come on, you guys couldn't just you guys couldn't just not attack me. Now I'm gonna have to fight you. It's not very nice, though. I can't really think of anything. But Deku is like, alright, now I'm about to beat you. He basically just picks up Bakugo and just says bye as he just like walks off and just like makes 3 physical clones to guard Bakugo as they're just walking out, only for a great portal to appear and all for one to come out. He's like, where are you going with that boy? He's like, who you calling boy? Last time I checked, I'm the oldest one on the planet. Oh wait, no, I'm the second oldest. There's this guy by the name of All For One. He's like 300 years old. That's when All For One starts laughing and he's like, oh, so you have an age quirk. That's pretty funny. I guess I'll take that and live longer. As he puts a hand on Deku's head. And Deku's like, huh, why are you doing that? Why'd you just put your hand on my head? What? I'm so confused. As he's like, what? How are you? You don't have a quirk. You're quirkless? He's like, oh yeah, about that. Oh wait, no, I am the first. I always thought you were 300 years old, Deku says. Even though I'm going to say All For One is probably around 80, so he was the first ever quirk user. So Deku's like, alright, since I'm the only one who knows how to use magic, I guess I'll go ahead and let something cool happen and maybe for a second person to do it. As Deku basically just yeets Bakugo and he ends up getting thrown straight into the UA conference room. And they're like, wait, what the hell? Young Bak... All Might yells as... It's like, Young Bakugo, where'd you come from? And he's like, Deku's fighting that weird guy with a helmet. He said his name was All For One or something. That's when All Might's like, what? How? He can't defeat him if he's quirkless. And Bakugo's like, what do you mean? He has magic, I think. I think that's what he told me. I don't know. But Deku and like All Might, and then they have a huge discussion on if he can take away magic, which would be amazing. So Deku ends up walking away, or Deku ends up just getting his ass kicked by All For One. Not really, Deku's just like letting it happen. He's just like, he doesn't even move. He just keeps getting hit, not even moving. Like All For One just keeps punching him, but he's basically just standing still with like bored look in his eyes. It's like, huh, that kind of tickled. As like half the cities just like in like rubble, and that was a bunch of heroes. Just see All For One like punching Deku repeatedly, only for him just to like look back at him. All the heroes try and do something, only for either for them to get killed or for their quirk to get stolen, making it just a bit stronger. So Momo ends up seeing this and rushes over, and All For One prepares a finishing blow, actually launching him off of his feet and into a building now. And seeing this, she yells at him, and with the overcome of purity to save somebody, she goes into her angel mode. I have no clue if that is how Elizabeth's angel mode is, and I'm just gonna say there's no quirks, but as soon as Elizabeth did that, she became immortal. So is Deku, which Deku's 100% demon, and Elizabeth is now 100% angel, which would make a half angel, half demon baby, which would absolutely be strong. Oh, I just have the best idea. But it wouldn't really work. But so Deku just so Elizabeth or Momo turns into her angel form. Now, this form is now she turned into her angel form and flew and attacked All for One, which she ends up beating. That's when Deku hops out of the rubble, just like scraping off his the dust from his shirt, and he's like, "Oh, I got my shirt dirty." As he walks up to Momo and hugs her, and he's like, I knew doing that would end up locking your angel form." So when she's like, "Angel form, what?" So Deku ends up explaining how she's the reincarnation of the goddess Elizabeth. So Deku ends up, and that's when All for One gets out, and Deku pushes Momo out of the way, and for Deku to be lifted up by a hook, which is like how Crocodile did to Luffy, as he coughs up blood, smiling as he wipes the blood away, and he's like, "You think that would hurt? I'm immortal." So I'm just going to say that Deku's going to have, let's say, just a bit of regeneration. Let's just say Bond's regeneration. Just a little bit. That's when Bond... So we're in Deku's mindscape, and that's when Bond just appears, seeing Meliodas sitting at a bar with a TV playing, watching Izuku, and he's like, "Where the hell? Why am I here?" That's when Meliodas turns, and he's like, "Oh, so you finally decided to arrive. Well, why'd you come?" And he's like, "Yeah, it was boring there, so I decided to give some powers to some kid." He's like, "Oh, well, I guess you're giving the powers to this kid," as he points at Izuku, and he's like, "Wait, why does he look exactly like you?" And I'm just going to say, for convenience, Momo's pretty much looks exactly like Elizabeth. So that's when Meliodas just explains everything, and he's like, well, I guess I'll have your regeneration, but how will you get your scar?" So basically, Deku's fighting All for One, and for All for One to put 100, no, for All for One to keep on fighting, with Deku just keep regenerating each time he gets stabbed, until Deku's like, I've had enough of this. As I believe it's either Fox Hunt or something else that takes his power. I'm not really good at knowing the other Sin's powers besides Holy Chastfold or whatever. So he does Fox Hunt or something and saps his power to where he's unconscious. Deku's like, I won. That's when Momo rushes over to him and hugs him, which when she accidentally I'm just going to say Momo still had, or I'm going to say 100%, wait, I'm just going to say he just gets a scar, just randomly. I don't really feel like giving Deku a scar, and everyone cheers seeing, Deku and Momo hugging each other after they just beat the world's greatest villain, pretty much. So Deku ends up taking out Lost Levine and stabbing him, just making him disintegrate into thin air. Nobody really cares. He was the number one villain. He killed a lot of people. So what? So Deku and Momo go back to UA. Kind of get scolded, kind of not. But in the end, Deku ends up with Momo. Just kidding, this isn't the last episode, but pretty much. He's still dating Momo, though. So they end up going back to the dorms, doing some stuff. And a year later, they have a kid. Now, this kid would have a half light and half dark powers, which, I'm just kidding. But this kid, since Deku is before Quarks, meaning he has more magic power than anybody, even Elizabeth. So, yeah, I'll explain more in next part. So, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. And you guys, bye.